What's up, everybody, and welcome back at Adobe Live. I'm your host, Kladi, and I'm very excited to be here with you for a brand new Illustrator Creative Challenge. I wanted to say hello to everybody that is here in the chat. Steve, Carol, Misha, Jack, Richard, lovely to see you. Welcome, challengers. I love that, Richard. That's so awesome. Yes, welcome everybody. I'm very excited to be here. As I said, I'm your host, Kladi, Italian designer based in Manchester, UK. What about you guys? Let me know where are you watching from. I'm always very excited to know and to learn more about our fantastic community here at Adobe Live. We get together at Adobe Live to learn new techniques, sharpen our skills, but of course, ask questions and chat together during these live streams. Of course, if you want to, you can join me working during this live stream, which is all about gradient. We're going to be looking into branding a gradient. So how to match a gradient to your brand and use it for presentations and all sort of stuff. So we'll show you how to do that. That's a technique that I include in many documentation that I use. I always make sure to hop on Illustrator and take advantage of the color palette of my brand in order to create a gradient, and then I can use across the board to make sure that everything looks consistent in my design. Come and join the chat if you're watching from YouTube. Don't forget that you can subscribe to the Adobe Live YouTube channel, and of course behance.net/live is the place where I'm going to read your comments and your chat. So come and join me, ask the questions, say hello. We have Ashrad from Pakistan, RB, what's up, Katarina, Sam Peterson sharing all the important link in which you can register to the challenge. So it's behance.net/challenge/illustrator. And of course, our amazing Discord channel where you can post your challenges as well. We're going to dive in there tomorrow. By the way, I've done already 2 weeks of these challenges. You can start for today. That's absolutely fine. But I'm going to show you. Discord is a place where you can share your work, and tomorrow we're gonna have a community day. So I'm actually gonna hop on Discord and I'm gonna run through every single challenges. So if by any chance you missed the previous challenges and you want to like a recap, tomorrow is the day to watch. But let's go ahead and let's get started. As I said, these challenges are available on a replay, although you can join me and we can work together as we go. Otherwise, just kick back, grab a coffee, cup of water, whatever you fancy, and just enjoy the stream. In order to get started, you have a starter file available for you just below the description. So just below this video, if you scroll down, you'll be able to catch the link with a starter file. I'm sure that our amazing Sam Peterson is going to pop that in the chat. Ben Thorne, Neraji, lovely to see you. Welcome here, everybody. So we are here discovering these features inside Illustrator that, as I said, we can use throughout different activities for our graphic design work. In this case, I'm going to show you how to leverage the power of Creative Cloud services, libraries, and the amazing Illustrator working together with this beautiful Adobe Creative Cloud service in order to be there and cater to every project. I use gradient across the board during my presentation as a background, as a decoration. And what I'm going to show you today is how easy it is to create a gradient that matches the color of your brand and then to repurpose it as many times as you want. Talking about environment, one of the things we want to see here is our libraries. So I'm going to go ahead and open the libraries panel. By the way, the libraries are usually on your screen, on your workspace. If you do not find the libraries panel or any other panel that I'm going to be mentioning here during this stream, you can always head to the window menu. That is the place where all the panels that live inside Illustrator are. They are neatly organized in alphabetical order, so it's very easy for you to go browse and check the panel that you like to pop up. So if I mention the libraries panel, you don't see it, very easy, just go ahead, make sure to select libraries, and once you click on it, it will pop up into your workspace. You can also click and drag and move these panels wherever you want, just so they are easier for you to grab. And if you fancy to do so, if things get messy, you've probably seen it many times while I work that I like to drag all my panels around. You can always click on the artboard or the workspace switcher located at the very top of the option bar. And from here, as you can see, I created my very own workspace. I called it I Am Kladi. But what I'm working on is essential. You can always go ahead and click reset essential or whatever workspace you're working with. And by doing so, you are brought back to the very beginning look of an Illustrator workspace. So if you right now head to the workspace switcher and make sure to select first Essential Classic, you can then go ahead and reset Essential Classic, and it will be able to bring back all your panels. Again, maybe Essential I think is the most modern one. It just doesn't have the option bar at the top. Again, reset Essential, and we are on the same page here. So the libraries panel allows you to create libraries that will contain, organize, and bring and allow you to share all the assets for your project. In this case, I'm going to click on the plus icon and create a new library. I'm going to call this library AI Challenge. And by the way, you can share this library with your team, with your clients, with yourself, whatever you want. The beauty of that is that if you do have images that linger on your computer or you want to share, but they're very heavy, maybe they're a very good photography for, I don't know, branding photo shoot or something like that, you can just drop them on this library and they will be hosted on an Adobe server. Therefore, you can literally go ahead and delete them from your computer and without any risk. So I'm going to call this one a challenge gradient. You can name your library as whatever you want and then click on create. Here you can store also type style for your text, which is super amazing, paragraph styles, color, shapes, and much more. And also you can use the library to jump between apps. So usually what I do is that every time that I do a presentation, for example, I create a mood board somewhere else in InDesign or Photoshop, I come here, create this amazing gradient, then drop it in the library, and then they're always available for me anytime, anywhere, in any other Creative Cloud app. Now, talking about a Creative Cloud environment, we do have a super amazing feature here that is the capture integration that you can access on a website called color.adobe.com. I really hope and pray to the Illustrator angels that will have the integration inside Illustrator as well pretty soon, because it's already available on InDesign and Photoshop. The capture integration allows you to extract color theme from any image. In this case, I'm going to jump back into Illustrator and use these Adobe stock images that I provided for you. So let's imagine that those are, I'm just going to create a screenshot of both of these images. These screenshots are then going to land on my desktop. As you can see, those are Adobe stock with the watermark. I'm just using it for the purpose of an example. That's the only reason why I've not licensed them. Otherwise, make sure to license your stock. So what I've done here, I went and created a screenshot, which now lives inside my desktop. And in fact, I can go ahead and grab this first image and simply drop it, or you can click and load and browse in your machine until you find your image. And in one go, you can load this beautiful color palette. So let's imagine that this is your logo, or this is an image that the client has provided for you for a brand new campaign. Well, you can leverage the power of color and capture and grab this image's color. And then, as you can see, the library that you've created, in this case, the library A Challenge Gradient that I've just created, is available for you to be used. So all you have to do is to click on the drop down menu and make sure that you select AI Gradient, and then you can name the color theme. I'm going to call this one Pink Desert. And then you have a few options. You can give tags, so it's easy to find, and you can also publish it to the color library so other people will be able to explore this color library. By the way, I'm using, just because of time, the color palette that has been selected automatically by Adobe Artificial Intelligence by scanning the images, picking up the most relevant color that are more prominent inside our photo. But you will be able to click and drag and use this detailed color picker. Look at the level of zoom. It allows you to really browse any shade and any pixel that is part of your image. So you can go ahead and move it around and select any color you want, and you will see that this color palette will also reflect in the color palette, that then you can go ahead and by clicking on the save button, you can save inside your library. And the beauty of that is that you can now read that this has been successfully saved in the gradient. So let's jump back into Illustrator and boom, is there. Now, I created this library live with you guys, so you know for sure that that wasn't there. And I'm just gonna stay there for a second. So I'm just gonna go and start to create this gradient. Now, the reason why I have this little color palette here is to show you that in the past, in order to leverage this color palette, we would have gone select a shape, press the letter I, and select the eyedropper tool, and then grab a color. And then perhaps do the same over and over again until we find a color, and that would have taken ages. Now we do not need to do that, so we can literally delete all this color and simply use the color palette here. I'm going to press the letter M to activate the rectangle tool. I'm going to click and drag in order to cover the main artboard with a shape. Remember, before applying a gradient or a color, any fill to something, you need to have that something first. So in this case, I'm just creating a shape, a rectangle. Press the letter M to activate it, or you can also find it in the toolbar. Is right there, is the rectangle tool. If you click on all on the rectangle tool, you can also discover all the other hidden shapes that are there in the toolbar. Fantastic. When done, press the letter G to quickly and fast swap in between the rectangle tool into the gradient tool. As you can see, the gradient tool is also located inside our shape. And then we're going to hop into the properties panel real quick. Here, there is a section of the properties panel that when you do have a gradient activated will pop up. So this is the gradient option section of the properties panel. So select your shape, head to the properties panel, and you will find this gradient section. Here you have access to 3 different types of gradient. The first one is the linear gradient. Now, look what happened here. We have 3 gradients: the linear gradient, the radial gradient, and then the freeform gradient. The only reason why this is not active at the moment is because I have my stroke selected. I haven't done that on purpose, but I'm actually glad that that happened. So that could be something that can happen to you guys as well, and you will know what to do. So as you can see, just above my head, right here, we have the fill and stroke control that let us know if we are applying a color to the stroke or the fill. If the fill is on top, that means that we're going to apply the color to the fill. If the stroke is on top, that means that we're going to apply color to the stroke. In this case, as you can see, we actually had applied a gradient. We have a black and white linear gradient that is being activated in the stroke. So what you want to do is to use the Shift X shortcut to swap the color from the fill into the stroke, or vice versa, in this case from the stroke to the fill. So you will see now that we have our fill active, and if we head back to our properties panel, you will see that now our freeform gradient are ready to be used. So the drill is, if you do not see the freeform gradient, which is, by the way, one of the coolest way of creating gradient active inside your workspace, inside your properties panel, is simply because you do have perhaps the stroke active instead of the fill. I want to see if there is any question in the chat. I want to know how to do motion graphic. Abdulaziz, there are many motion live here during Adobe Live. Make sure to go ahead and check their replay in the motion category. There is a lot of fun going on. Also, if you scroll to my website, is iamkladi.com/how-to. I've created 2 different streams on how to animate anything in Photoshop. So those are great starter for animation. Make sure to go and check them out. I don't know if Sam, if you can please share the link in chat, iamkladi.com/how-to, or simply you can search online how-to animation and Kladi, and YouTube will give you the video here. Perfect. So I also have my mom in the chat. Ciao. Mom, keep it in English. My mom is Italian, so of course everything is going to be in Italian. Right. So let's go ahead and click on this freeform gradient and let's see what the buzz is all about. So real quick, first of all, let's do one at a time. The linear gradient are literally, as the word said, the gradient and the color are mixed together, blended together in a linear form, so they follow a line. You can click and drag, and you have option to change the length of your line. You can also move your line, and you can also rotate it. So if you hover around the end of the line, you will be able to rotate it. Also, you can distribute with this little diamond the distribution of the two colors, and if you wish to do so, if you click on the three dots, you will be able to add more color anchor points, and with this color you can add as many colors as you want to your gradient. There we go. So again, you can distribute the color anywhere you want, and you can also rotate the gradient and so on. Then you can do the same with the radial gradient. In this case, the color will not be distributed on a line, but it will be distributed on a circle, as the gradient says. Those are amazing to create flair on top of your photography, especially if you set it to multiply. They look pretty amazing. But let's go ahead and move to our freeform gradient. So this freeform gradient, as you can see, allows you to create color stops and to add as many as you want. As you can see, all I'm doing is clicking inside this rectangle, but everything looks white because I haven't added any color to these color stops. Now, the beauty of having this color in the libraries is that we can simply select a color stop and apply the color of the brand, of the image, of the shooting, of whatever that is relative to your brand and to your assets, and you can simply apply them to any of this color stop. Now, I really wanted to show you how to integrate libraries and how to work together. So once you create this gradient, by the way, you can always press the letter V to exit the gradient. If you want to edit it, you can always press the letter G. The color stop will appear over here. You can go ahead and click anywhere to add a new color stop. If you select a color stop and then you click somewhere else, the same color will be added there. You can click and drag outside to delete any of this color. And of course, you can click and drag and move it anywhere you want around your shape. I think that's pretty awesome. Now, you can also double click on each one of these color stops in order to access the swatches panel. You can also access the eyedropper tool and automatically go ahead and select the color directly from an image. So let's say that you have a specific image that has been provided to you. You don't have time to add it to your library. If you want to work a little bit faster and you do not need to save. So going through color, saving it to the library is a safer way to organize your assets together, making sure that you save the color palette so everything looks consistent. If you have some text, you can use exactly the same color. But if you're not bothered and if you just want to reference a specific image that maybe is part of your campaign just for a specific theme, you can again go ahead and select your color stop, double click on them. Here you have access to the eyedropper tool for your color stop. They will allow you to go and pick a color from anywhere inside your canvas. So here I selected, as you can see, this color, and you can do that as many times as you want with as many colors as you want. And you can go ahead and then edit your gradient by adding new color stop and again selecting any color you want using the eyedropper tool. So you have a ton of possibilities here. Of course, you can change the size of this rectangle. You can also create borders. So sometimes I use this gradient just as borders. Of course, perhaps I will use less anchor point because you will see the distribution of the color otherwise clashes. So you can use them as border for your presentation. Usually when I do mood boards, I cannot take the color from the images. So let's imagine that this is like a mood board with different images there. What I will do, I'll pick the color from my mood board and then I will have border on both sides of my mood board. Sometimes I tend to invert them as well. I think it's quite fun. So it's almost like a way, and then if we go in our trim view, we see the final page. You can also push it and go into our presentation mode. So real quick, we created a gradient that can decorate any sort of document, in this case, like a mood board featuring a couple of images, a presentation, and then within Living Illustrator, you can access the presentation mode by selecting the top view menu and then enter the presentation mode. You can exit it at any time by pressing the escape button. And what else? You can also click and drag and save these a specific shape with the gradient inside your libraries. So what I usually do is I tend to have different shapes here of different size. But as you can see here, I have my gradient, I have my border with a gradient applied to it. I think that that's really, really cool. There is something else that I want to tell you. Let's see if I have, yeah, I still have a couple minutes. These gradients are pretty awesome. If you perhaps wish to use images, maybe you have this photo and then you want to add some text at the bottom. Now this photo is quite okay. Let's actually use the other one because it's a bit messier. So if, for example, if you have a photo that is quite filled with content and you're looking somewhere to add perhaps something like credit or the description, or you want some negative space, gradients are a perfect way to create a great negative space. I'm going to go ahead and press a letter M to activate the rectangle tool and create a rectangle located at the bottom of this toolbar here. As you can see, we have this red outline of my rectangle. I'm going to press the letter I and activate my little eyedropper tool. And usually you will get this sort of like black negative space, and then there you can write, oh, this is my painting with flowers, or this is my new fabric, this is my new illustration, whatever. But this is kind of blocky. It really, like, literally it's a shape on a photo, and it's very noticeable and it's not that subtle. So I would strongly recommend you to use gradient, and in this case I'm going to head back to the properties panel, perhaps select a linear gradient. I'm going to go into its option because I added a lot of random color. By the way, here you can click and drag outside like we did before, just simply to remove these colors. I'm going to go ahead and select our freeform gradient just to have a little bit more of freedom when creating this gradient here. And at the moment, I'm going to add these two colors. I'm going to use my eyedropper tool to choose the color of this background here. And perhaps I can do that twice. But look here at the gradient, at the color stop that is on top. I'm going to double click on it and I'm going to change its opacity to 0%. Now I'm going to make sure that I keep these at the top and I add a little bit more of this darker color stop at the bottom. I think I would have probably got away as well with just with a linear gradient. But what I'm trying to show you here is that probably linear gradient would have done a better job here, because otherwise I need to add a couple more of 0% opacity color stop here. But the whole idea here is to have a low opacity color stop at the top, and then we have this full opacity color. So you literally have a gradient that blends in with your image. So you're basically hiding the edge where it breaks from being an image and having the gradient. Looks like we have a little bit maybe of a space here where we probably could do with a little bit more of zero opacity there, just to create that beautiful effect of having a fade from the image into the gradient. And we have now creating a negative space where we can type whatever you want, like, you know, this is my photo. My painting is not, I don't even know what I'm typing here, but then maybe you want to write with something like white, and I'm definitely going to make this text bigger. Let's see, maybe 100 is still bigger. I'm just going to write at I am Kladi, which is my Instagram. And as you can see, we have easily created this fantastic space using gradient, using the opacity, instead of having a nasty block like everybody used to do times and times ago. Now we have access to this gorgeous gradient to do many beautiful things, from having the possibility of using it as the decoration for our branded document, to having the chance to create material that use gradient in order to create negative space in a very subtle way. I hope that everybody enjoyed this stream. Don't forget, let me go and activate this Discord here. So here you have the link, bit.ly/AI Discord. That is the place where you can drop your design. We're going to be together tomorrow. I will be reviewing your work. If you want to learn more about gradient, I've just published a reel that is coming up onto my Instagram with a lot of fun with the gradients. I always publish Illustrator tutorials, so you can hop there. But right now it's time for you to grab a glass of water and come back because there is a new editing workflow in Premiere. Oh, I was loving Alex Hogue stream yesterday. Alex is amazing. I love your website. Props to him and his amazing action shooting and editing. So go and grab a glass of water and come back at Adobe Live. There is a lot of fun. And don't forget, this stream here are every day at 11:30, and I look forward to catch you tomorrow with a brand new Illustrator Creative Challenge. But bye-bye for now, everybody. Ciao, ciao.